Next thing we're going to add is pack points. That's the little dots that fill up the maze that Pacman has to collect. That's the aim of the game, really. So we're going to make those pack points as a new sprite, and we're just going to create one to begin with. So back to the new sprite button. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple, and we'll just do a red dot in the center of this box here. Okay. Again, if you were doing it on a particular theme, you can make the item, the pack points, an object to collect instead. I had it on the Christmas theme one that was shown earlier. We had Christmas puddings for the pack points. So once we've created the pack point there, we're going to build the script for the pack point. So this bit of script, it actually goes on the pack point itself rather than on Pacman. But it utilises some of the similar things that we've already used in the game. So the first block we're going to use is when we click the green flag, as we've been using all the way through. We're going to use a forever block to make sure it always works. We're going to take an if block as well inside that forever block. And then we're going to go to sensing, and it's the very top touching hexagon shaped block we're going to use there. And in the drop down box we're going to choose, in my case it's sprite 3, that's the Pacman sprite. So whenever the flag is clicked, if the pack point is touching sprite 3, Pacman, we're going to do a few things in this space, in the if block space there. We're going to go to looks initially and choose the option for it to hide. That will make it disappear as it touches Pacman. If you ever put a hide in, you need to always remember to have a show at the top of the stack, straight underneath the flag. And that means every time you click the flag to restart the game, all the pack points will become visible again. Otherwise they'll be lost once you've collected them the first time. As well as disappearing as we collect the pack points, I also want a little bit of noise in there to give me some kind of feedback. So I'm going to go back to the Sounds tab and back to the Import button. And in the same sound effects folder that you can download from the game on page, there is a noise called chomping, which in the original Pacman game was the sound used for collecting the pack points. So I'm going to use that one. So load it in first and go back to the sounds category. And if you take the top block that says play sounds chomping and just close those instructions and add that to our stack instead, or as well. So now when we touch Pacman, it will hide the sprite and it will play the noise. Now you could stop there and that would work just fine for that pack point. In fact, let's just give it a quick test out and press the flag and collect the pack point. But really, to be able to make scoring possible in the game and have an end to the game, we need to include points, and it's sensible to do it at this point. To create points in any Scratch project or anything like that, you have to go to the variables category, and if you haven't come across variables before, that's things that change. When you initially go to the variables section, you won't see any blocks in the side pane there, but if you click on make a variable, you then get the option to give it a name, so that could be points or lives or score, or you can use it as a countdown timer. It's possible to do that as well for other games, but we're just going to put points for this one and press OK. And when you press OK, you'll see some blocks appear there. So we've got set points to a starting position, that's the first block. Being able to change the points, you can make that a positive number or a negative number to add or take away from the point score. Then the others are, it says show or hide the variable, and you'll notice over on the game screen now a little box has appeared that says points. That's movable, so you can click and drag that and position it somewhere where you've got space for it on your game. So I'll put it right in the center there if I want to. And now, because we've already done that first bit of script for the pack point, I'm just going to add in one block that we've created now and there. So we said before, when we click the flag, it's going to show, and then after that, if it touches sprite 3, which was Pacman, it's going to hide the pack point, it's going to play the sound, the chomping noise, and we're also going to say change points by 1. And that's going to give me 1 point every time I touch the pack point. At the same time, I'm going to just put at the top of that stack this block here that says set points to 0. Again, that means when we click the green flag, it's going to reset the points to 0 for when a new game is started. So now that pack point's been created and all the code's in place for it, all we need to do is make copies of that. So if you right click the sprite down in your sprite window and duplicate it, just like before, we can just click and drag those to the next square on the grid. And they're not going to move at any time, they're just going to stay stationary, so once you've put them in position they will just stay there. And that'll take a little while. If you use this normal grid that we've provided in the resource pack, there are 32 spaces, that's not including the centre square, so you'll need 32 of those red dots. So I'm just going to stop now and do that, and I'll get back to you when that bit's finished. I've completed all my pack points now, so I've got 32 of them making up the full maze. Just something to really emphasise before you do that is the order that is created in. So if you remember, I created the first pack point and set up the script and loaded in the sound and all those points, and then I duplicated it. Really important to do it that way around, not to draw 32 pack points and put them in position and then start building the script. That way around you would have to copy the script from the first pack point to all the other pack points, which might take a while. But the other thing that will not work if you do it that way is the sound. If you make the pack point first and then import the sound and then duplicate it, the sound goes with it. Otherwise you would have to import the sound into all 32 of those sprites, which would take a long time, so just to save you some time there. The other thing to watch out for is just if you see this ghost sprite is sitting behind the pack point, if you just click on the ghost and just give it a little wiggle, it will reappear and come up above the pack points on the top layer again, and that'll sort that out. So now I'm just going to play the game there and just test that out. Pacman's moving, the pack points are disappearing, and you should see my score in the centre there is also going up as I collect those pack points. Okay, we'll leave it there. It's almost there, we're almost finished now with the basics of the game, but a couple of things just to add in to improve things and make sure everything starts in the correct place, that kind of thing. One thing we haven't said to Pacman at any point is where he begins the game. So we've done his arrow controls there, and we've done his collision detection with these bottom blocks here. But we're just going to add another simple block, a set of instructions that is, again, the flag block at the top. And straight underneath that we're going to tell him where to begin the game, so go to, and 0, 0 is the centre of the centre square, so that will put him in the correct place. I also want a little noise piece of music to play when the game begins, so again we can go back to sounds and import, and there is a start game piece of music, which you can hear there. Again, that's from the original game, so I've imported that one, and I click on sounds and add that to my instruction list there. So when I start the game, go to 0, 0, play the sound, start game. And we can press the flag and just, yeah, that's in the right position. We've got the piece of music playing there, and off we go. You can also hear the chomping noises there. The last thing to do is add a couple of bits that will end the game in effect, and that could happen in one of two ways, either Pacman dying or collecting all the pack points on the level and getting to the end of that bit. So we're going to use the variable blocks we created a minute ago to do that. We'll do the score system first. So under the stack we've just built a second ago, we can add it on there. So we're going to have a forever block there, and if inside that, and then we're going to go to a new category, which is the bright green operator blocks, and there's a lot of kind of math symbols in there. There's add, take away, multiply and divide. There's the ability to pick a random number between a set sort of scale. You've also got the more than, less than and equal to symbols in those blocks there, and it's the equal symbol block that we're going to use this time. This clicks into the hexagon space like so, and in that space we can go to variables and actually grab where it says points just on its own there, and that will click inside the little space there. So we're saying basically if the points in the game equal a certain amount, something can happen. Now if you remember, there are 32 pack points in the game, so that is the maximum possible score that I can get. So if I put 32 in there, so I'm saying now when I start the game, go to the center, play the start noise, and after that, if the points ever get to 32, then something's got to happen in there. And I'm going to do a couple of things there. I'm going to play a congratulations sound, or a winning sound, so again we'll have to import that first. There's one called intermission, which was the noise in the original game. You can hear that. That was the original noise that was used in between levels and that kind of thing. So we'll use that as the end of game music. That can go in there. And I also want to have a little message to appear, and there's different ways you can make text appear in Scratch, but the simplest way is to use the speech bubbles, which are in the looks category. So this one says say hello for 2 seconds. I'm going to drag that in and just change the hello to say congratulations. And I'm just going to make it play, or stay on the screen rather, for 6 seconds. That matches the length of that piece of music there as well. So hopefully now, once we've collected all the pack points, we should get that little message and the game should stop. There we go, we get our message. I'm going to just lift the sound above the message, so the sound plays first, and while that's playing we'll then see the message. We're going to add lives, so it's possible to also end the game not by collecting all the points but by dying. So back to variables, we're going to need to create a new variable. So click on make a variable again, and we'll put lives in for its name this time, and you can see that's added lives and points there in the variables panel. So we've got the same blocks, but we just got the option to choose from lives or points in all the drop down boxes there. So inside that same stack of blocks that we've just built a second ago for the points system, I'm going to get another if block and very carefully add it inside the forever block but under the previous if block, making sure it's not inside the other if block. And we're going to build it, or set it up in a very similar way with that equals symbol again, clicked into the hexagon space, and this time we're going to go back to variables and put the lives block into the first space in there, and we're going to say if lives equal 0, something's going to happen. What's going to happen when lives get to 0? Well, we need things to stop basically, and we need a bad luck message, that kind of thing. So I'm going to use the speech bubble again for that. And instead of hello, we'll just say game over. I can stay on screen for 5 seconds. And again, I want a noise in there, so back to the sounds category and import, and see if we've got something suitable in there. Well, we've got Pacman dies, which we've already used, or that intermission noise. There are other noises in there as well. Maybe just Pacman dies will do actually, since we've already used that one once. So I'll put that above the message, choose Pacman dies from the drop down box, and after the message is finished displaying there, I want the game to stop. So at the bottom of the control section, right down the bottom, there's a stop all block, and again very careful, this goes inside the if block, and that means after the lives reach 0, it'll play the sound, we'll get the game over message for 5 seconds, and everything will stop after that, and the game will finish. One other important thing to remember to do is to set what your lives begin the game on. So back in variables, set lives to this time we're going to use, and that again, that needs to go at the top, so when we restart the game the lives go back to, I'm going to choose 3 lives for my game here. So now this stack of blocks says when I click the flag, set the lives to 3. It's also going to send Pacman back to the start. It's going to play the start game music, and then after that, if the points get to 32, it'll play the finishing music and say congratulations. However, if the lives ever get to 0, play Pacman dies and say game over. that'll almost be finished now. The last thing we need to do is go back to our baddie characters, sorry, Pacman character, and it's the collision detection with the baddies that we want to alter. We've set the lives, we've said if they get to 0, but we haven't actually told the computer when to take a life away. So change life by -1 I'm going to do, but that's going to go inside the if blocks we built before for if you touch sprite 1, change lives by -1, and that'll take 1 off the life score, and we'll do that on the other block as well. So that works for both of my ghost characters. And we'll just try that out now. And just restart that, there we go. So I'll see if I can find a ghost to touch into it. So I've lost a life, lost 2 lives, 3 lives, all gone. And the game has stopped there without me having to click on the stop button. That was because of the stop all block that we added in just before there. So that is the basics of your Pacman game finished off now. There are other details you can add and other things that will make it a bit more complicated and advanced, and the last tutorial video, which will be coming up after this one on the page, shows you how to add some of those more advanced features.